this is Seth with In Demand Career. I show people how to get life-changing jobs in digital marketing with no previous experience or education. And that includes my very special guest today, Nicole, who was a struggling college student majoring in marketing and really frustrated with the outdated things she was learning. She really wanted to get her career going quicker than what she was learning in college. So she took my course, hustled very, very hard, and got her first entry-level PPC position, making $47,000 a year, and she dropped out of college. She's very happy with her new career, the salary, and the freedom. I'm very excited to share her story with you. Thanks for being here, Nicole.
Hi, Seth. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Awesome. We're happy to have you here. So why don't you tell people a little bit about the current job you have right now?
So I'm a paid search analyst. What I do, I specifically work in the automotive industry. So I run like all different type of ads up to YouTube, search, demand gen, and PMax. And what I do is I target local dealerships for people who are interested in buying a car.
There you go, guys. That's great. Obviously car dealerships need exposure online, and it's amazing that, again, after just a little bit of time in the course, you're able to get a position, helping a local business promote their product. So, you seem very excited and very positive about this job. Why don't you tell us, what do you like about it, or what's it like? Is it in-house? Is it remote? How does it feel to have this job?
Yeah, honestly, it feels amazing. When I first started the job, of course, I was like really nervous, but then, after a while, you get used to it. Like, everyone is so nice. It's fully remote, so I do love that. Like, I feel like once you get like a job that's fully remote, you feel so much more comfortable in your own space, and it just gives you so much like more experience, the experience you didn't have before. But I love it. The culture, everyone is so supportive. And yeah, it's great.
Awesome. Awesome. And I mean, we'll get a little more into that in a minute, but of course, everybody wants to know, how did you go from where you were to getting this job? So like, what was going on in your life when you first, found out about the course, and what drew you to digital marketing?
Yeah, so in 2021, I actually always wanted to work in digital marketing because at that time my brother was like starting up his own marketing agency. So I kind of got like inspired. And then maybe like a few like years later, I got a job as a swim instructor, right? I was working as a swim instructor, but at that time I still knew like I wanted to work in like digital marketing and especially remote, right? So now I think there was a point where I was just so frustrated. I was like, you know what? I need to get some real life experience. Like, how can I make this happen? I go on TikTok and I search up how to get a job in digital marketing. And I see this girl that, she was promoting your course, which was amazing. So I go on like YouTube, your channel. And then, I saw all your testimonials and, you looked sincere, you looked real. So this can't be a scam. So I'm there, I'm scrolling. And then, at that time, I really couldn't afford your course. So it took me a little, maybe it took me like 5 months. Right. And then at that time, I was,
Save up to get the course?
yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So right when I started like making a little bit more hours at the swim instructor place, I was like, you know what? Let's just do that. Right. So I bought the course. It went really well. I was excited. I started it. Like I'm going in. I have my notes, my pen, everything. And I want to be, no, like it kind of took me a while. It took me a while to like finish the course, maybe like I want to say like 6 months around there. And after that, I was just like, okay, so now what? Like I felt like I didn't have that experience. Like I didn't have the experience like I needed. So I was like, you know what? We're doing it again. So I went around, I did your course twice. And after that, I'm just like, okay, so I'm still looking at the YouTube videos, like, and do you remember Jimmy Tai?
Yeah.
So whenever I would like lose motivation, I would always go and like watch your video. And I'm like, you know what? Okay, if he can do it and all these other people can do it, so can I. Right. And so the third time, Seth, I went through your course 3 times. Right. And then that was maybe I finished the course the third time, maybe like 3 months ago, 4 months ago. And then that's when I started applying, right? I started applying, but the thing is, I wasn't really expecting a job. out of it. Like I was kind of like, there's a section in your course that says you need to match your like the job description to your resume. I wasn't doing that. I wasn't doing that. So I kind of wasn't really taking it seriously. And so that's when I started applying. I applied maybe to like 30 jobs, 20 jobs, right? I wasn't hearing anything. And like I got a lot of rejection letters too. I got a lot. So maybe 3 weeks later, I got an email from the company that I'm at now from the president. She says, "Hey, Nicole, we'd love to schedule an interview with you. Are you interested?" I'm like, "Oh, yes." So we scheduled the interview. I was very nervous. I was very, very nervous, but it went really well. She asked some questions I didn't know. And yeah, and then I ended up getting the technical interview maybe like a week later, and it went really well. And now here I am.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Wow. Well, there's a lot to unpack there. Uh,
Sorry.
no, it's great. It's great. You answered the question, and I'm amazed that, once you finally had the confidence to start applying. So when you say you went through the course a few times, it's like, I tell you to generate experience. Were you not generating the experience, or was it just that you didn't feel the confidence? It's totally normal, and I even tell people to do it multiple times because remember, guys, you're learning a completely new skill set. Some other programs are like a year or two, which is too long. But also, you shouldn't expect that like 3 days after you start the course, you're going to be like, yeah, I know everything about paid search. It
For
takes
sure.
weeks, months. Everyone has a different timeline. Sometimes it's, a month, 2 months, sometimes, 5 months. It all depends on your own kind of learning ability or the learning curve. But so what, made the difference that you finally felt confident to apply? Did you generate some experience? Did you get your hand on an account or something?
Yeah, so when I was applying, I had originally created my own website. It was like a normal website, like an e-commerce website. So I already had that. Plus the website you had already like made like told us to do. So I had two websites. So I was running some like campaigns on that, but then I also got an internship, which was really easy to like get. So that was good. That only lasted, not gonna lie, that only lasted maybe like a week, only because the president of the company that I'm at now, she had already reached out to me and she already wanted me. So I'm like, okay, so I can't do the internship now. Like that has to
Right,
go.
right. You're
Yeah.
getting paid. That's totally,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's how it works. It's just I try to get you guys to this point, the sweet spot between where it's like I don't want you, I don't want you rushing out there with no idea what you're doing and applying to jobs and just saying, yeah, I'm really good at teamwork and communications. Give me a job. And the other
Yeah.
hand, I don't want you to feel like you have to know everything about digital marketing. Once you've done the course, she built a couple websites, she ran a couple of small campaigns. Now you know more than most other people. And I think it's funny that you said you were surprised, like you kind of weren't even expecting it, because it makes sense coming out of college. They really don't prepare you for this. So you're not thinking, I think there's two extremes with college students or graduates. I think there's like you, where you weren't that confident, and then other people are delusional and thinking like, I'm going to be vice president in 2 weeks because of my degree. But that's
Yeah.
um
It's crazy.
yeah. So and the other thing I wanted to ask about just quickly is like you said you were frustrated because you were majoring in marketing, right? Or right?
Yeah. Yeah. So speaking about college, so at that time I was majoring in marketing, and it was like it is frustrating because like I not only I had my parents, but I have like my neighbors and like my parents' friends asking like, Nicole, when are you graduating? When are you graduating? And I'm like, that's a good question because I don't know. And like at that time, while I was still in school, I was still taking your course. So I knew it was gonna happen. Like I made sure that I was gonna get a job whether I liked it or not, to make this happen, because like I paid for it. Like what's the worst that can happen? You don't get a job. Well, you keep going. You have to keep trying, right? You don't just stop because you feel like nothing's happening. If everyone else like on your YouTube channel can get a job, then so can you, right? So that's how I saw it. And it was really frustrating because I had a neighbor, well, my neighbor, she would be like, Nicole, you have to go get your master's in, like, if you're going to study marketing, you have to get your master's. There's people out there that has master degrees and they can't even get a job. Like that's how competitive it is. I'm like, I'm gonna do Seth's course. I'm gonna listen to him, not you. So, and look at where I'm at now. Like I just saw her a few days ago. I'm like, yeah, I got a marketing job. I work at an agency, and she was mute. So that felt good.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's a perfect like moment in the movie where the main character is like, you know,
yeah,
you
for
work on
sure.
commission, big mistake. Uh, Pretty woman
I
reference. Um,
Yeah.
what but that's really interesting because I want to come back to that. There's like a bunch to talk about. So I'm really happy you listened to me and not her. There's a lot of guys, if you're watching this, if someone's telling you to get a master's degree in anything, unless it's medicine, psychology, you know, it's true I think to be a licensed psychotherapist, you have to get a master's degree.
Yeah.
That's it. Don't get a master's degree in anything else. It is such a waste that you're just digging yourself into
Yeah.
deeper debt. And so I'm glad
And
you were smart enough to see that. I hear that, that I'm really happy about
one
that.
thing that's crazier is that she didn't even like no one asked if I had a degree or not. They didn't ask like, hey, do you have a like because at the bottom it said you need a bachelor's degree. That wasn't the first thing she asked me. So I was like, okay, we do not need that, you know?
You do not. You do not.
Yeah.
And so just going back to the interview, because I don't want to gloss over that. It's like, so, okay, so you started applying, you didn't get responses for a while. You kept going. This is very important, guys. In anything you want to pursue in life. I even have the same challenges myself. Every human does. There's going to be a point where you're pursuing a goal and you feel like it's not happening. That's when you have to keep going. So I'm glad you kept that attitude. When you got the first interview at this agency, or when you got the technical interview, how did that go? Like, what kind of questions were they asking you? Did you feel confident answering them?
So I will be honest, no, I was not confident. I was very nervous, which was very normal. It's very normal to be nervous, but like the thing is, they asked me maybe like 4 questions, and I told them like I don't know, and I still got the job. So like I feel like that just means you just have to be authentic. You have to be real because like one thing like I learned is that these people like they know when you're BSing, right? So it's either you know the material or you don't, right? And I was nervous, but they asked me like 4 questions I didn't know. So I think it went pretty well, but
Let me
yeah,
ask.
they
I think that's, first of all, it's really good advice, which I always say to be honest, which is like you say, you do your minimal experience from the course. You don't lie and say, I remember somebody who actually copied my course was telling people like, to basically exaggerate what you've done. And I say, no, don't do that. That's not going to be sustainable. But you must have shown them something. You didn't just
yeah, I
go
told them
up
my
and be like, I want a job. You were just like, you must have told them some knowledge. So I was curious, what were the questions you could answer? What were they talking? Were you talking about account structure? Were you talking about setting up campaigns?
Yeah, so I remembered my boss, he asked me, he says, "How would you conduct keyword research?" Or like what's the first thing you look at when you look at like an account? So I feel like most of the questions were just like really all about account structure, but what really helped Seth was the checklist. The check like I cannot express this enough. Like everyone who's like watching this, you have to go by like the checklist. I mean, those were basically all the questions like they asked. It was mostly about account structure. Yeah.
There you go. And so when you say you didn't know the answer to, you're talking about, was it the first interview or is it just 4 questions you didn't know? I'm just trying to give you, I want to change the perspective a bit because it's, so
Yeah.
people don't think that you walked in there without knowing anything. Like you just,
Yeah.
maybe some more advanced questions you didn't know the answer to, or,
So it was like in both rounds because the position that I was applying for was a search analyst too. So it was more mid-senior level.
ah,
And after a few questions, the first round with the president, the first round of the interview, the first thing she asked was, so how would you conduct pacing? And I'm like, like I froze. And you want to know something even crazier? I skipped that section in your course.
yeah.
And I'm like, out of all the sections, I had to skip this one.
Hmm.
But I was real. I was authentic. I told her, I'm sorry, I don't know, but I can get back to you. She was like, no, that's totally fine. That's okay. Next question. And she didn't mind at all.
That's really good. So guys, that actually illustrates a couple of good points. Like I said, when I was in beginning my career, I would apply for positions I wasn't qualified for. And that's why in my walkthrough videos, I'm always telling you to apply anyway. Just get into that habit. It's nothing bad happens. If you don't have the qualifications, you don't get arrested. You know, it's like, it's allowed. You don't know what could happen. So in my beginning of my career, I applied for a management position that needed like so much experience and so much management, and I had none of it. But they got back to me and said, hey, you know, you don't qualify for that position, but here's another position. Would you like that? And it sounds like that's what happened here is like you applied for a senior position, but then they said, no, but we have a junior position. And
Yeah.
obviously they were looking for, again, guys, I say it every week and I love hearing it. This is your proof. It's been happening for years. Colleges are clueless, and maybe we'll chat a bit about what you were learning in your marketing program, but the general idea is it was nothing relevant to these jobs. And so they needed someone who could even answer the question, how would you do keyword research? Which is so great. So so what was it like after the interview when you actually got the job offer?
Oh, I got the job offer like after the technical interview, like what happened after?
But I just mean like what did it feel like to get the job offer?
Oh my gosh, I couldn't stop crying. I could not stop crying. So that day when I, you know, accepted the job offer, that same day I was like resigning to like the after school program that I was at. And it took me 30 minutes to send that resignation letter just because like it felt so surreal. Like I was like, I cannot believe this is real life. Like this, like I've been studying this for who knows how long. And I finally got it from, you know, like it's crazy. Like I couldn't stop crying. I was crying for like almost an hour. It was crazy. But you know, they were happy tears, so that was good.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. What did your family friends think about it?
So my parents, they're very proud of me. Everyone is so proud of me, my friends. And it's so funny because my dad, he asked me a few like weeks ago, he was like, so are you still in school? I'm like, no. Because he would always be the one asking, saying, like, come on. So when are you finishing? When are you finishing? Like, you need to get a job, like keep it going. And I'm like, don't stress me out. So it
So
was so annoying.
they're proud of you, and then just to clarify, you did drop out.
I did drop out, and I would like proudly say that I did drop out. Yeah.
Good for you. I think
Yeah.
it's very smart, you know, because a lot of, students write to me all the time and say, can I do your course while I'm in college? And I say, well, listen, you have to make a choice at some moment. If you do the course the right way, you're going to get a job offer. And then you're going to be, if you're a freshman, sophomore, or junior, I mean, if you're like 3 credits away from graduating, maybe finish, but like for the most part, you're, the reason you're in school is supposedly to get a job. You already get a job offer.
Yeah.
Most students drop out because there's really no point in spending more time accumulating more debt to learning more worthless information if you already have a job offer. And so
Yeah.
I'm glad you're able to do that. And it's interesting too, because you told your parents, and I imagine that would be a difficult conversation for most young people, but you're like, I already got a job. So did they take it better because of that?
They did for sure. And it's like, it's so crazy because one of my ex-best friends, she was in the same position as me. She was well, she's still in school. She's studying marketing. And it's so funny because when maybe a few days before I was gonna have the interview, I showed her the list of like the interview questions that I was practicing. And keep in mind, she's also studying marketing. She was like, Nicole, what is this? I don't even know what this is. How is someone studying marketing, going to school for that in college, and they don't know what a CTR is, right? And I'm like, but aren't you studying marketing? How do you not know what that is? There's my point, you know? So
Yeah.
that was kind of funny for sure.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And I think I really appreciate that you were frustrated and smart enough to question. When you're in college, I was the same way, even years ago. You're kind of brainwashed into like, well, let's just trust the teachers, trust the professors. And it takes some real critical thinking to be like, wait a minute, is this relevant? And then when I go through these curriculums, it really blows my mind. You're learning like statistical analysis, you're learning like all this esoteric theories about marketing. Some of these books were written 20 years ago. Some of the professors don't know anything. I think I might have told you the story. I had a student, Nick, who told me he was an engineering student studying marketing. He said he was at a party at his college in Washington State, and he said to someone, "Are you guys?" She was a marketing major. He said, "Are you guys studying Facebook ads?" And she said, "My professor said that Facebook marketing is a fad, and it will be over soon."
Oh,
Like, okay, so company that's in the S&P 500, multi-billion-dollar company, $150 billion a year. It's not a fad. But some of these professors think that way because it's new to them. I mean, it's not that new anymore. So anyway, I like to talk about, college. But this is exciting to me. This is, exciting to see someone your age to, take the initiative and get these results. And guys, what she shared about like the checklist and the course, if you don't, if you're not in the course or if you're in the course, I'm going to let you know it's still basic stuff. There's so many small businesses. There's agencies that are running ads for small businesses. And you don't have to be, like I said, get a master's degree or do any of this complicated stuff to offer value to an employer, because these accounts are not, I would say they're sophisticated, but they're not that complicated. Mostly it's about fixing stupid mistakes that have
yeah.
been in setting up accounts. And you can learn how to do that. So I like to tell that to people so you're not intimidated. I say, hey, it's not like you're doing data entry and you just roll out of bed and you can do it. You have to learn it. You take a few months. But it's also not like becoming a doctor or coding or something where you have to like stress out over very, very complex stuff for years at a time. And you are proof of that. So I'm proud of you. I'm excited for you. And, I'm happy that you're happy. This is a great starting salary, guys, 47K remote, first job, 22 years old. This is perfect. You're going to take that experience. And I know within 6 months to a year, you can get yourself up to 60K and up and up and up. And yeah, it's really wonderful. So I wanted to ask you, is it okay for people to reach out to you on LinkedIn if they have any questions?
Of course. Yeah. Feel free for sure. I'll be more than happy to.
Okay, great. I will put that in the description below. And yeah, thanks again for sharing your story here. Is there anything you'd like to say to me before we finish the video?
Well, first off, Seth, I just want to say thank you. Like, this is so crazy. Like, this would have like never happened because of you. Like, I want you to know because of you. So thank you. Thank you so much for everything. Like, for your support. And it's been a nice journey. So for sure.
You are welcome. I really appreciate that. I'm very happy I could help. And is there anything you want to say to anybody watching the interview on YouTube right now?
Yeah, I would definitely say be patient and just be real, be authentic. Just know the thing is about your course, Seth, is that it is a lot of information, but it's really easy. It's really easy, but you just have to practice, keep going, do not give up, because if all those other people can do it, if I can do it, then you can. Okay. So just keep going, do not give up, and you'll get a job for sure.
Awesome. Very, very well said. Well, all right. Thanks for hanging out for a little bit and sharing your story, Nicole. I'm sure we'll do a follow-up interview in a few months or a year, and it'll be exciting to see where you are. But for now, enjoy your new career, enjoy the flexibility, enjoy not having to go to outdated classes in college, and enjoy your life. And we'll be in touch.
Awesome. Thank you. Sounds good.